Come with me as we set a timer for half an hour and try to sort out my house. Now, we returned from a Christmas breakaway the afternoon before with two sick kids and a sick husband, and chaos quickly ensued. We hadn't exactly left the house in tip top condition, but it was nothing like this when we left. We returned home, we were very quickly needing to do things, go places. We picked up a massive weekly shop, and we've still got the bags left over from that. Also, in this particular day, we'd taken our family out to see some Christmas lights, which is all good fun, but we hadn't been home at all to get anything unpacked and tidied away. There is stuff literally everywhere on every single surface. Doors left open, a dishwasher that needs emptying, a kitchen island that I cannot even see, and we've got bags out and stuff and presents everywhere. So I set a timer for half an hour and ran around my house like a crazy woman whilst my husband filmed me. I was thinking that if I set a timer and made this a bit of a race, I would get more done. It's already quite late at night here. We've put our kids to bed. We're absolutely exhausted, but we have got 9 people we are feeding the next day, and my family are arriving at 11 a.m. the following day. I am cooking and we need to get things tidied up. There is absolutely no way that I'm going to manage to get this sorted the following day. So I want to get the downstairs of my house tidy so the next day I can run the hoover around, I can run a mop round, clean the downstairs loo and get cracking on food preparation. So the first thing I'm doing, I've got a bag here and I'm running around and I'm picking out things which need to go upstairs. So I want to get everything that doesn't belong downstairs in this bag, and I will deal with that the following day. So I came across a bag that I had dumped on my office chair. This is actually like my work bag, but in it I had taken this bag away with me, and I've got a bunch of stuff, a bunch of presents, a bunch of things that I need to put away. I also seem to have decanted like 2 selection boxes worth of chocolate in there. So I'm turfing out all the chocolate on the side, load of chocolate coins. I don't know how all of this stuff ended in the bag, but I think when we were packing to leave, I was clearly just dumping stuff in this bag. Taking my work stuff out. Like, why did I take my work stuff away? I wasn't actually working while I was away, but I seem to have got a bit of the habit of thinking that I might need to do some work over Christmas. Who's going to need me? Absolutely no one. Total waste of time. So having done that, I am now basically like upending stuff and seeing if there's anything toy-wise that I need to put upstairs, any of the Christmas hats and things that can go. And then I'm just chucking a load of fancy dress Santa suits in the direction of the fancy dress stuff, emptying out my kids' presents and seeing like the books that we need to take upstairs, stuff that needs to go in there, like toy bins upstairs. We don't have many toys upstairs, but we do have quite a lot of books upstairs. Just having a debate here, we had a couple of books gifted to us that we already have. So I think my plan is going to be to take those to the kids' school when it opens up again in January and see if they can put them to good use. I am sure that they will be able to do so. Might also be able to speak to mother-in-law who gifted us those books, see if she's got receipts and we can swap them, but that generally tends to be a bit of a hassle. And I don't want to offend her also by pointing out the fact that we already have them. It's so hard with kids' books, isn't it? I feel like the Julia Donaldson's one, they're great ones to gift, but also people generally tend to have quite a few of them. So I'm going through now seeing if there's anything else I can take up. But honestly, this was my only strategy for this half an hour, was to start off putting stuff that needed to be upstairs in a bag and taking it upstairs. And that's something that I tend to do a lot when I'm doing a big tidy up. The first thing I do is do a sweep. Is there like any rubbish? Is there anything that needs to be in a different area of the house? Because otherwise, I tend to find that I flit like from one thing to another, and I spend too long actually going from one place to another, and I need to just stay in one place and get stuff done. But I am one of those people that get easily distracted. So while there are some things I can easily put straight away, like these sticker books here, mostly I realised as I was going along there are quite a few things I need to find homes for within my house that don't already have homes. And by that I mean the Christmas presents that my kids received. I actually don't think they received too many presents this year. I feel like it is a decent amount that I can cope with. I did a big declutter of toys, a couple of declutters of toys actually, in the lead up till Christmas. So, but it's just a case of like, where do they live? So there's some things I can think of like naturally, where do things live? If we get toy cars, we have a toy car box, for example. But there are also things that we have never owned before. And I need to think about what is like a good place for them to live in. And I hadn't considered when I set about on this like half-hour mad tidy up that I would need to actually be activating my brain and thinking about like, where do these things live? And I found that sometimes that I felt like I was just running around in circles. So I thought, do you know what? I just have to stay in the kitchen. So I'm just going to sort the kitchen first, spend some time in the kitchen, not move on to another room until like I feel like I've done like the bulk of that. So for that, but basically meant that I would empty the dishwasher first, which is what I'm doing here. I'm running some water to get some hot water in the sink so that I can wash up the things that need to be washed up. We don't put things like our drinking bottles in the dishwasher. I think technically they can go in the dishwasher, but that would mean that they would get worn out a bit sooner than they otherwise would. And I'm totally fine with washing up a few things. So having a mad flurry of putting some things away here, getting some things tidied up, getting some things washed up. And then I'm going to move on to some other areas of the house because I really do find that when I am tidying, I tend to waste time going from place to place, and I'm having to like really force myself now to stick to a particular area of the house. And then I can see like a big improvement as well because I think when you're doing like one thing, then you get distracted and like, oh, you see something that needs to be upstairs, then you go upstairs. And when you're upstairs, you find something else that needs to be in the bathroom, you put it in the bathroom. Then when you're in the bathroom, you find something else. And you know, basically you do that like all around your house. No one area sees any vast improvement. So you feel like, wow, I've just run around for like half an hour tidying, but nowhere looks tidy. Whereas I find if I actually dedicate the time in, say, the kitchen, I get to a point after like 10, 15 minutes of like, wow, this is starting to look a lot better. And then that motivates me to make improvements elsewhere in the home. So it's a win-win situation. You don't waste time going from place to place, but also you get that motivation to move on to other stuff. So throwing things around here, we've got some paperwork that I was going to tidy up, and my husband announced actually that could just go in the bin. So I think that, you know, there's a lot that we could both be doing. We're opening stuff, we're leaving stuff on one side. And I think when the house is looking a bit of a mess, we have that tendency to just leave more things where there are already things. Whereas when the house is looking tidier, we are more inclined to keep it that way. But very quickly, as I said, this house has got a total mess. And I have done a lot of work in the lead up to Christmas, 20 days non-stop decluttering every single day for 20 days in the lead up to Christmas. And I know that I have cleared a lot of stuff from my house, but I also know I still have a lot of stuff to go. And I would like to get to the point where like it is much easier to tidy up and where there is like way less stuff for it to get in this state so quickly, because that is one thing I'm still finding clearly. Very quickly, the place can get a bit overwhelming. So finally, I feel like we are starting to see some surfaces appear here. The kitchen island is starting to feel a bit more breathable. Now, I do have like this central kind of area of Christmas ornaments, and after Christmas, I think just everywhere will start to feel like way less cluttered. But do you know, I reckon it might even take me 2 to 3 months of like pretty serious, dedicated decluttering to get to the point where my house feels like it can breathe. Someone actually put a comment on one of my videos earlier saying like they felt like having decluttered their home could breathe. And I thought that just felt like a really good way to feel, like to be able to describe your house as being able to breathe. Oh, I want to feel like I can breathe easier in my house. So that is what I'm striving for basically. And my aim is to do a 30-day declutter in January. I have a bit of a list which I am going to be formalizing in the next couple of days, and I will share it with you. If you want to join me along for 30 days of decluttering in January, my idea is that I'm going to put down like all the different areas that I want to declutter, but then I can choose like which one I want to tackle on each particular day. So if I have like an area which I know is going to take me a bit longer, I might choose to do that on a day where I can dedicate the time. Whereas if I have a day where I only have 15 minutes to spare, I can choose an area where I already feel like I have decluttered it, you know, in this like previous 20 days of decluttering, and not have to spend too long on it. And the idea isn't that I fully declutter each area over the course of the 30 days of January, but just that I tackle what I can in the time I have, because the 20 days of decluttering that I have done recently has proved to me what I always suspected, that if you do a little bit each day, it really does add up. And I cleared so much in the 20 days, but often I was only spending like 15, 20 minutes a day decluttering. I only did a couple of bigger declutters on the weekends, but mostly I was decluttering in my lunch breaks. I didn't have a lot of time. I was decluttering around the kids. It's lead up to Christmas. We had a lot on the weekends. So I really didn't have that much time to dedicate to decluttering. So what I'm doing now is just stacking the chairs up, getting everything off the floor, because my intention is to set our robot vacuum cleaner on the next morning. I would have set it off to go this evening, but it had been knocked off its charging pad and did not have the charge to do anything tonight. So I thought, you know what? We'll just get it ready so that by the end of the day, like everything is clear, things are off the ground, and then I can set the vacuum cleaner off the next morning. And then all I have to worry about is going around with my speed mop. And if I have the time, I would hoover upstairs as well. But for now, really the most important thing is to get the downstairs clear. People will be spending most of their time downstairs. My niece is coming over and I know she'll want to play with the boys. They'll probably play up in their bedroom for some of the time, but the adults will be downstairs and most people will be downstairs for most of the time. So what you see on the floor here are mostly my kids' like gifts that they got for Christmas. I had them all in bags. They had a separate bag with their gifts in, but as they've wanted to play with things during the day, they have gradually emptied out a lot of their bags anyway. Things were getting messed up, and I could see what would be happening with things were going to get broken. So they were tripping on things, standing on things, losing things, and I thought, you know what, if we don't tidy things away into the places they need to be soon, then somebody is going to break something, somebody is going to trip up and get injured. So it's like in everyone's best interest that we tidy things up. So the things I'm moving now into the utility room are like more crafting gifts, and all of our crafting stuff lives in the utility room. That needs a very good sort out. I haven't decluttered the utility room at all during my 20 days of decluttering in December. I desperately need to do that. So I'm literally just putting those craft things on the side to deal with another day. But also, I don't expect our guests to go in the utility room. What I don't want to do is just stuff things in cupboards, stuff things in bedrooms that people won't be going into. I do want to clear things away as best as I possibly can. Feeling pretty pleased with how I've got to at this point, but my husband is giving me a countdown and telling me that I don't have long to go at all before the timer runs out. So I'm sprinting to put things where they need to be. Okay. Not my husband, claiming to be the one who has expelled all the energy running around chasing me with a camera whilst I get things tidied up. Now, I have to say that my strategy here was half an hour spent with me running around, my husband filming me doing so, because there's no way I could follow myself around with a tripod in that time. I thought I would get more done than with the two of us both tidying up, but he was fully expecting to be tidying with me beforehand. But I think that actually did work out well. So here is what I got to within the half an hour. As you can see, like in our kind of dining room area, our kitchen area is looking way better, but it's the toys I didn't quite get finished on. There's still this area up in the corner here, kind of all the treats and mince pies and everything that I need to sort out. But largely in the kitchen, we are looking good. Now, my husband said I should film after we had finished tidying up. So here is after we had finished tidying up. So after the half an hour was done, my husband and I probably spent about 20, 25 minutes, both of us, finishing things. Now, we slowed way down without the timer going, which also did prove my point that when I have the timer on for half an hour, I get a lot more done than if it's just like a regular half an hour spent. Sometimes it's really good to set that timer, give yourself like a kick up the backside, make it a bit of a thing. So my husband packed away all all of the fancy dress stuff. We got all of the toys packed away. We also have lifted a few more things up ready for the hoover the next day. I tidied my desk area a little bit. We got the island tidied up a bit more. Got the washing up packed away. The island is looking a lot better, but we do have some treats and things that we're going to be eating up when we have family over. And I sorted out this corner as well. There were a few things that were out of date, a few things that could go away in the cupboards. That's looking way better. And this is basically now, save for me picking up the rugs, which I will do. Here's a little robot vacuum cleaner. See you in the next one. Bye.